The gentleman.
One last question, Alabama or Auburn?
The gentleman.
War Eagle.
Time has expired.
No. Although I went to law school, I love Alabama.
Mr. Jordan, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Attorney General, did the FBI pay Christopher Steele?
Where am I?
Right here.
Yeah.
Did the FBI pay Christopher Steele, the author of the dossier?
Those are matters you'll have to direct to the, I think maybe the special counsel.
And why is that? I'm just asking if someone
Well, I'm
on the
not
payroll
able
of the FBI.
to reveal internal investigatory matters here that's under the investigation of anybody, but particularly I think
This happened in the summer of 2016. We know the Clinton campaign, the Democrat National Committee paid through a law firm, Fusion GPS, to produce the dossier. We know the author was Christopher Steele. It's been reported that he was on the payroll of the FBI. I'm just wanting to know if, in fact, that is the case.
I'm not able to provide an answer to you.
Did the FBI present the dossier to the FISA court?
I'm not able to answer that.
Do you know if the FBI did the established process protocol in evaluating claims made in the dossier?
I'm not able to answer that.
On January 6, then FBI Director James Comey briefed President-elect Trump up in New York about the dossier. Shortly thereafter, the fact that meeting took place and the subject of the meeting was the dossier was leaked to CNN. Do you know who leaked that information?
I do not.
Are you investigating who leaked that information?
That would be a matter within the investigatory powers of the special counsel.
You said you got a number of
Justice.
investigations going on, Mr. Attorney General, regarding leaks. Is that likely one of those that you're investigating?
I'm not able to reveal the existence of investigations or not.
Mr. Attorney General, I appreciate your service in the Senate. I appreciate your service at the Justice Department. Consider you a friend. And frankly, I appreciate yesterday's letter saying you were considering appointing a special counsel that you sent to us. But my concern is we sent you a letter 3.5 months ago asking for a second special counsel. And if you're now just considering, what's it going to take to get a special counsel? We know that former FBI Director James Comey misled the American people in the summer of 2016 when he called the Clinton investigation a matter. It's obviously an investigation. We know FBI Director Comey was drafting an exoneration letter before the investigation was complete. We know Loretta Lynch, 1 day before the Benghazi report came out, 5 days before Secretary Clinton was scheduled to be interviewed by the FBI, met with former President Bill Clinton on a tarmac in Phoenix. We know after that meeting, when she was corresponding with public relations people at the Justice Department, she was using the name Elizabeth Carlisle. You know, as I've said before, it seems to me if you're just talking golf and grandkids, you can probably use your real name. We know that Mr. Comey publicized the investigation, and we know he made the final decision on whether to prosecute or not. And then when he gets fired, he leaks a government document through a friend to the New York Times, and what was his goal? To create momentum for a special counsel, and of course it can't just be any special counsel, it's got to be Bob Mueller, his best friend, his predecessor, his mentor. The same Bob Mueller who was involved, we've now learned, in this whole investigation with the informant regarding Russian businesses wanting to do business in the uranium business here in the United States regarding the Uranium One deal. So I guess my main question is, what's it going to take, if all that, not to mention the dossier information, what's it going to take to actually get a special counsel?
It would take a factual basis that meets the standards of the appointment of a special counsel.
Is that analysis going on right now?
Well, it's in the manual of the Department of Justice about what's required. We've only had 2. The first one was the Waco, Janet Reno, Senator Danforth, who took over that investigation as special counsel, and Mr. Mueller. Each of those are pretty special factual situations.
Let me ask it this way.
And we will use the proper standards, and that's what only thing I can tell you, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I appreciate that.
You can have your idea, but sometime we have to study what the facts are and to evaluate whether it meets the standard
well said.
that
So let me ask you this. If in
a
fact,
special counsel.
Well, we know one fact. We know the Clinton campaign, the Democrat National Committee paid for, through the law firm, paid for the dossier. We know that happened. And it sure looks like The FBI was paying the author of that document, and it sure looks like a major political party was working with the federal government to then turn an opposition research document, the equivalent of some National Enquirer story, into an intelligence document, take that to the FISA court so that they could then get a warrant to spy on Americans associated with President Trump's campaign. That's what it looks like. And I'm asking you, doesn't that warrant, in addition to all the things we know about James Comey in 2016, doesn't that warrant naming a second special counsel, as 20 members of this committee wrote you 3.5 months ago asking you to do?
Well, Mr. Comey is no longer the director of the FBI.
Thank goodness.
We have an excellent man of integrity and ability in Chris Wray, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job, and I'm very happy
He's
about
not here today,
that.
Attorney
And
General.
I would say,
you are, and I'm asking for a
The
special
time of the
counsel.
gentleman
and I would
has
say,
expired.
looks like is not enough basis to appoint a special counsel.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Johnson, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, General. You have led a remarkable and notable career over the last 42 years as an attorney in private practice, as the Attorney General of Alabama, then the U.S. Attorney in Alabama, later the U.S. Senator of Alabama, and now the Attorney General of the United States of America. And you made a professional judgment call when you recused yourself from the investigation of the Russian interference in the 2016 elections, and you've caught a lot of flack for that decision. What I want to know is, why did you recuse yourself?
Well, thank you very much. I told the Senate Judiciary Committee when I was confirmed that I would evaluate those matters. I would seek the counsel of the senior ethics advisor.
My question is, why did you recuse yourself?
I'll get that.
I don't want you to filibuster.
Okay.
So
I did do that. I evaluated that, and they showed me something I was not familiar with, one of the Code of Federal Regulations that says if you participate in a substantial role in a campaign, a Department of Justice employee should not participate in investigating that campaign.
Thank you.
I felt that was correct. It was not because I had
And I agree
any concern about anything I had done previously, but it was, to me, if I were not bound by that, I don't see how other people in the Department of Justice could be expected to follow the rules of the department either.
Well, thank you, sir. And after you recused yourself, you did participate in the firing of the FBI director who was leading the investigation into the Russian interference with the 2016 elections. Prior to Jim Comey's termination, were you contacted by the Donald Trump administration, anyone in that administration, Donald Trump himself or any of his political or campaign officials, about their quest to fire Jim Comey?
I am not able to and cannot reveal conversations with the President of the United States or his top advisors.
Let me ask you this question. With regards to the AT&T proposed acquisition of Time Warner, which owns CNN, it appears to be a vertical merger, much like the Comcast-NBC Universal merger that DOJ approved. But unlike its treatment of Comcast-NBC Universal, DOJ has suggested strongly that it will not approve the AT&T Time Warner merger unless Time Warner sells off CNN's parent company, Turner Broadcasting. It's well known that your boss, President Trump, has great disdain for CNN, which he calls fake news. And what I want to know is, has the White House or any individual in or on behalf of the Trump administration or the Trump political team or campaign, excluding staff from FCC or DOJ, has anybody contacted you, your office or your assigns regarding that AT&T Time Warner acquisition?
First, I would say that I don't accept and cannot accept the accuracy of that news report. We have a professional...
Your department has not told Time Warner that, and AT&T, that they must shed Turner Broadcasting?
Our work
false report?
is professional. They do meet with the,
Is that a false report or is it a true report?
I just would tell you, I don't think it's, I'm able to accept as accurate the
All right.
news reports
I got
that
you.
have been come out on that.
Let me ask you this question. On October 18th, when testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Sass asked you if the department had taken adequate action to prevent election meddling in the future. You stated that there was no review underway of the cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Have you requested a review of what laws need to be updated in order to protect our elections from foreign influence?
We have discussed those matters, but no completion has been done.
Are you
The
conducting a
FB
review at this time?
Yes, our team is looking at that. The FBI has real skills in that area.
What
And I
individual-
think we're not anywhere near where I would like us to be
Well,
yet.
let me ask you
Mr.
this
Johnson.
question. What individual with your department is leading that inquiry?
We would be working with our voting rights section, our criminal section, our national security section, probably is the most knowledgeable in the hacking and area, as well as the expertise in the FBI.
Time of the gentleman
Thank
has
you.
expired.